Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to be here and to talk about a fantastic event for physical educators, the National PE Institute. As Saxon mentioned, I am Brian DeVore. I'm Open's Professional Development Director and hosting this along with Artie Camilla, who I'll introduce in just a moment. But, as far as myself, obviously a longtime teacher, educator, elementary, middle school physical education, and health and PE coordinator in the Metro Atlanta area for a few years. But I'm super excited to be able to do this for a lot of reasons. Number one, really enjoyed my experiences in the past at National PE Institute, but it also allows me to join with Artie Camilla. Now, many people don't know this. Artie and myself, both graduates of UNC Chapel Hill and the physical education department there. And in fact, shared many teachers together, not at the same time, but during our schooling, like Doc Hyatt and a few others who taught us many, many great lessons there in physical education. I'm going to toss it over to Artie for a quick introduction. He's known by many as the godfather of physical education. Artie, enlighten the audience a little bit more other than being the godfather of PE.
No, that's fine. Thank you, Brian. I am currently the executive director of NC Shape. That's the North Carolina nonprofit for health and physical education teachers. I'm just happy to be here. Thank you very much, Brian.
Well, we appreciate you jumping on with us, Artie, and appreciate the partnership that PE Institute has had in the past with Open, and then with bringing PE Institute back this year. Being able to partner again and be able to bring in some presenters. Many of our national trainers were going to present, but then we also have Tom Gilardi coming from New York to do some presentations there from Open. But Artie, Open has had a presence at PE Institute since the beginning, and even had one of our Open National Trainer Conferences there in years past. So I know it's been a great partnership from our standpoint, and hopefully it has been from yours and now North Carolina Shapes.
It has been. Thank you.
Yep. So tell us a little bit about, PE Institute and the history behind it, Artie, because we know pre-pandemic PE Institute was a fantastic event, and now it's coming back this year. And so a lot of people who have been there in the past were super excited, but we have some folks who have joined the teaching profession since the last PE Institute several years back. So they need to know a little bit about the history behind this. So share a little bit with us.
In a nutshell, the idea is still to gather the movers and shakers from across the United States and around the world. We want this to be a leadership conference where leaders can pick each other's brains, learn from each other, and have a wonderful time in Asheville. If you've never been to Asheville, it's crazy. It's not normal. It's a wonderful place to be, and you're surrounded by people who think the same way. I think that's enough to say. You're going to have a great time.
So Artie, remind me, the first National PE Institute happened in what year?
2012.
2012. And then went through, I guess went through 2019, and then had to take a break for the pandemic.
Right.
And then coming back this year, with North Carolina Shape. So I know you have a ton of help from the executive board there helping you out to make things happen this year, correct?
Yeah. We could not do this without the help and leadership of NC Shape. And without them, it wouldn't be possible.
And a ton of volunteer hours from folks behind the scenes. So if you are attending this year, make sure you take time to thank those folks, not only from North Carolina Shape, but other people volunteer their time from outside of the state, and many attendees volunteer their time as well. So make sure you take the opportunity to thank them if you are in Asheville this summer. So we have a couple of guests with us today. First up, I'm going to introduce Elise Lachlan. Elise is in the state of New York. And Elise, I'll let you share a little bit about your past and your history with PE Institute, as well as your current position and what you're looking forward to this year.
So I am Elise Lachlan, and my current position, Aaron Hart is one of my mentors, and he still calls himself a phys ed teacher. So I feel like I can too, even though I'm in an administrative role now. So my my job, I work for the state education department now, and I oversee and I'm a liaison for physical education. So I make sure to build capacity for administrators, principals, teachers, athletic directors. I build capacity for them to follow the New York State learning standards for physical education and to understand the instructional in and outs of physical education. I've pivoted into this role, and it's very exciting. I just celebrated my 1 year anniversary there. And in so many ways, being an open trainer has prepared me for this position because I have one of my strengths is that I can zoom in and zoom out really well. And being an open trainer, obviously, like, you have a national perspective of what's going on because you get connected to everybody that way. And I've been to the National PE Institute when the Open Trainer Conference was there, and that was like such a magical conference for a lot of reasons. And then I was on the docket to be a keynote speaker in 2020, but then like something happened. I don't know.
Kind of got sidetracked a little bit,
Yeah.
huh? Well, good
Everyone's
deal.
calendar kind of changed.
Right, yeah, just a little bit. Well, thanks for joining us today, and we'll get some perspective from you in just a moment. And of course, we have another special guest here with us today, Joey Fife. Joey, introduce yourself to the folks here joining us today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing these days.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Joey Fight. I proudly teach P3 physical education here in Kentville, Nova Scotia. A lot has changed since the last time I was at the PE Institute. I was born and raised in Montreal, and I taught the first 12 years of my career there. And then I ended up taking a break from teaching. And now the gym kept calling me back, and I was super excited to be able to land the position right here in the town where I live, where my kids go to school. And I'm just loving getting that experience of being able to create a meaningful program for my students here. I'm so fired up. I was so excited when Artie contacted me, told me that the P Institute was going to be coming back. The P Institute has had such a wildly positive impact on my life. The way I got into it was, I remember in 2012, I believe Artie contacted me. He'd reached out to me about some partnership thing between the work he was doing, the work I was doing on my website, thephysicaleducator.com. And I was like, okay, whatever, we'll set up a call. And we ended up not talking about anything but just the joy of teaching children and how much we love physical education for an hour. And after the call, he sent me an email asking me if I'd be willing to come down to Asheville, North Carolina. And I said I couldn't. I said I had a family obligation, but the reality was that I was broke. I had no way of getting myself down to North Carolina. So I was like, oh, and then as the Institute was going on, I was like, what a ding dong. Like, that probably would have been an amazing event. I can't believe I said no to it. And then after that first P Institute, he contacted me and asked me if I'd go down as a keynote speaker in 2013. And the rest is history. I've been blessed to be able to be a part of the P Institute as a keynote 5 times. And the connections, the people I've made there, the experiences I've had have had such a profound impact on not only on who I am as a teacher, but who I am as a person. The memories and learnings that I gained there are invaluable, and it's something that I'm going to treasure throughout the entire of my life. And I can't wait to get back to Asheville to build some of those memories and create some of those moments with a whole new crew of people who are hungry for this kind of event once again. So I'm just really proud to be here and proud to be a part of this.
Well, I think too that the folks who have been there in the past and remember those days of the first PE Institutes, as well as leading up into the end at 2019, are super excited that it came back. I mean, the buzz that was created when Artie and NC Shape made the announcement was just really incredible that it was coming back, and social media blew up and people's emails blew up and, hey, did you hear the news? So super exciting. And of course, with you having the past involvement, that you have had with PE Institute, people were super excited that you were going to be back to kind of kick off this rebirth of PE Institute. So thank you so much. So Elise, you mentioned before that you'd been to one of the PE Institutes and was supposed to be there for a second one as a keynote. What are one or two things that you think make PE Institute such a unique experience for attendees?
Okay, so So there was a study, or there's this common understanding that people that use Internet Explorer as their web browser are less productive than people that have downloaded Chrome or Mozilla or something, like not the default browser. So it would be Edge now, I guess. And I think that that's part of what makes the National PE Institute special, is that it's not the default browser. People have to like seek it out to find it. And that type of person that's willing to seek out that kind of experience, it, just like Artie was saying, are like the leaders, are the people that you can match minds with. And like, so then it becomes this community. And I always think of like creative rest when I'm in these types of spaces. So creative rest is like when you're not trying to create something, but you're drawing an inspiration for what to create. Because in my mind, like teaching is such a creative practice, it's an art. And so you need that space, then that rest to be inspired. But then there's also this element of like social rest, because you're connecting with people, because phys ed teachers, you can end up teaching on an island in a lot of ways. So you're getting that rest with the connection with people, and like spiritual rest in the sense of the larger community is there. And then like there's this part of, kind of Joey and Artie were talking about it a little bit, like in 2012, people that were like rolling through were like early adopters of Twitter. And like I was able to see Joey's keynote on YouTube. And like you can't go to Shape conferences and see those keynotes on YouTube to like, and so I was able to access that in 2012. And so that was like something that like I couldn't quite get there because it was too far away. I didn't really understand that like how nationally things worked at that point. But there's this like early adopterness to this to being PE geeks. Like they're being around people that match energy like that makes it really special.
Yeah, and I think just having the one experience that I had, but watching it from as an outsider looking in and making sure that I was up to speed on what went on at all the PE institutes. I would agree with you. I think another thing that makes it special is, like, from my perspective, especially when I was in the classroom, is that it does occur during the summer. And you're not stressed out about what did my sub do today?
Yeah.
Did my kids go crazy? And people can relax. And like you said, being able to have that creative ability to draw from other people and draw that inspiration, and be able to sit down and have a discussion without worrying about oh, are my lesson plans okay for tomorrow, or what happened in class today, oh, I need to call someone, or my sub canceled, or any of
Yeah.
those things. I mean, it gives you the ability to open up your mind and really think about physical education and what you do and where you can draw that inspiration.
Yeah, the other thing that I want to shout out Artie for is that in 2012, was I 30 yet? No, I wasn't even 30 yet in 2012. And Joey and I are about the same age. And so Artie is giving a stage for young people, although I think Joey, unfortunately, we're kind of like middle now, but like
Elder millennials.
but to give that is something that, like, for all of us early adopters was really hard, because in 2012 you have to think that that's like before Google Suite was like a thing in schools, really. Like those, if you had Google tools in your school was very much ahead of the game. So thinking about all of the things that we were talking about, and giving people our age literally a stage to talk about those things, when like you didn't have to do that, like that also makes it exciting for me, the fact that like it's not, you didn't, you let our generation in to have that, so that was nice too.
Thanks, Elise. Appreciate it. Artie, you have some questions for our guest?
What are you most excited about? Elise, What or who are you looking forward to see, or what are you looking forward to learn? And then we'll turn it over to Joey.
So first of all, I'm really excited to see everybody. I I don't think that I've seen Joey in person since Boston.
I'm trying to remember if Boston came after Montreal.
Oh no, you're right. When I
Yeah.
so when I went to Montreal for the Canadian National Conference,
Elise crashed our national conference.
it was only like 3 hours away from Albany. So I drove literally like the night before, and Joey and I weren't really that close. And I just kind of DM'd him on Twitter, like, hey, I'm coming. um so like seeing and Artie, I don't think that I've seen you since we were in North Carolina. And like, I see some people on the call, like Matt. I haven't seen Matt in a couple of years. So being able to see everybody in person, and again, like I am especially on an island. Selfishly, I'm going to speak right now. I am the only phys ed person in a giant office building right now. So anytime I can get out and be around my people, I'm just a much happier person. So I'm really looking forward to that, and kind of all of the stuff that I've touched down on. I'm looking forward to seeing what young voices are coming out and what they have to say. And I'm looking forward to gaining like the perspective that's outside of my cubicle.
Artie, my man, I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Oh, me too.
First time I flew
And
down to
giving you
Asheville.
just a long, big hug. It's been a long time. And
First time I flew down to Asheville,
everyone,
I got off the plane and I had no idea who Artie was. I didn't really know what to expect. And here's this man that just comes up to me and gives me the biggest hug. And I just instantly knew I was home. I think the special thing about the P Institute is that the first time I went there, it wasn't like I was walking into something that was brand new. There was a sense of culture and tradition and family that was already established by the people who cared so much about what they did and why they did it. The only way I can explain it is that it felt like I had walked in on somebody's family supper and there was already a seat and plate waiting for me there. And that's what I'm looking forward to, is getting back to a place where I can be surrounded by people who know the why behind what they do, and are driven to continue pursuing that why with just an incredible amount of passion and be real about it. This has been the most rewarding and meaningful year of my teaching career. Being able to teach at a school in my community, to serve the kids that I see on the streets around my house, and to be able to bring just as much experience and expertise and anything that I've accumulated, just felt that it's all led to this moment this year that I've been teaching. And to be able to get there and connect with people and just geek out on that kind of stuff, because I know I'm going to be surrounded by people who get it, people who feel the same way about what they do. And to be able to share that enthusiasm and to add that fuel to the fire in my belly, I'm just wildly, wildly looking forward to that. But I'm definitely looking forward to that hug, Artie, and I just can't wait to be there and see all of you again.
Outstanding, outstanding. Joey, so as a keynote speaker, you've been there before. Can you give us a little preview of your keynote? What your message is going to be that you're going to deliver to the audience there this year? Just give us a little nugget or two.
We'll have a 45-minute presentation prepared for you. No, in the past, I've talked a lot about I've talked about how do we maintain our passion as educators, and I've talked about finding your tribe as physical education specialists and teachers. And my life has changed a lot. In 2021, I left teaching due to burnout. I didn't want to leave teaching, especially not in the middle of a pandemic. And I had to for my own health, my own well-being, and being able to get back to a place where I didn't only feel like I need to go back to teaching. I felt like I wanted it. It was like I said, like there was other opportunities I was pursuing, and life was going well, but there was something unfinished that was calling me back to the gym, to calling me back to being in front of young people and trying to be a force for good in their lives. And I think at my keynote, I want to focus on that. I want to focus on how do we create experiences that are memorable and meaningful for our students, and that truly, truly set them up for being able to turn their worlds into their own personal playgrounds. And that's what I'm most excited about. And by following through on that kind of vision, by following through on that kind of meaning making that we engage in our career, being able to just keep that fire in our bellies roaring. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to being able to share nuggets from my teaching this year, and being able to celebrate all of the hard work that's being done by physical educators across the continent and across the world.
And it's, I mean, that's one of the things that, teachers are struggling with across the country and all over the world, coming out of the pandemic. And I see it in the teachers that I work with across the country through Open. They are struggling with, okay, how do I keep this going? And how do I find a passion, and how do I develop that passion in my kids? So I'm sure your message is definitely going to be very meaningful to all those in attendance, and hopefully Artie will get those keynotes up like he has in the past, so that people can see them, and teachers all across the country, whether they make it to Asheville or not, will have that opportunity to grow from your message. So thank you so much. So Elise, you've been to PE Institute as a teacher in the past. Now with your new role as an administrator, it's a little bit different. And and I know as a past administrator, it changed for me going to conferences. I had a whole different outlook on things. So what are some things that you hope to kind of take back as an administrator to pass along to teachers in the state of New York?
Yeah, this is a really hard question because it goes back to that, to what I said before about still seeing myself as a phys ed teacher. And like now the things that I'm going to take, because like we keep on talking about the connection that we make there. So I guess that like part of what I want to bring back is ideas for how to create that level of connection in New York through phys ed teachers. Something that I've learned in my year doing this job is that New York State might as well be an entire continent or an entire country, because you have Long Island, New York City, and Westchester that all operate their school like in 3 different ways. And then you have like upstate and like central and western New York generally operate in a very similar way. But then you have the North Country that has like a lot of very small schools. So they're like trying to create a culture when everything is so diverse, but like PE Institute is a perfect example of how you can create a culture with a lot of diversity within the attendees. So that's part of it. And I guess like I always had this perspective that phys ed is bigger than we even really think it is, because phys ed is really like preparing kids to be grown-ups. Like, how do you take care of yourself as an adult? Like, if you look at the standards, it's really, the standards are preparing you for maintaining your health and wellness and like staying alive. So
To do that on your own.
yeah, doing that on your own and living a good life. And like something in my presentations on the state level that I keep on telling people and pointing out to people is so important is that we literally have joy in our standards. Like, and I think that that is like a very different perspective than the other standards, because we're like, okay, we're teaching you all of this, but how do you see joy in what we're teaching you and to incorporate it into your life? And that is, so I've always kind of seen that like in my teaching, a through line in my teaching, but now as an administrator, we in New York is just developing their portrait of a graduate. So trying to learn from, because North Carolina is actually one of the states that we were learning from as we were building it in New York. Or North Carolina and Virginia. So trying to make those connections and pull that into New York and see like what has already, the work that's already been done on that. And that's like, like I said, zoom out to zoom in, like zoom out and see that what's going on nationally for the things that we're working on in New York, and then zoom back in, how can we connect that to New York? And, you know, and like, again, that rest and re-energize as an administrator, I feel like is really important, because it can be really easy to just like fall into just the administrative yes, no's, productivity tropes of being an administrator. And it's really important to me to stay connected to current practice. So going to National PE Institute will definitely hold me to that.
And sometimes that can be hard, you know, at your own state conference because of the role that you have at the state, and to be able to take yourself and go to another location with a national group can sometimes make it to where it's almost like, okay, I'm almost a little bit more anonymous here, and
Yeah.
even though everybody knows you, but it's a different purpose though behind, you know, it's like, hey, yeah, I'm here as Elise, you know, and I'm not here as Elise with the New York State Department of Education. So,
Yes, that's
so that makes it a little bit easier. Well,
yep.
I want to thank both Elise and Joey for coming and hanging out for a little while today. If you'll hang on for a little while, we'll check the chat and see if there's any questions for you all here in a little bit. Want to give Artie the opportunity to talk a little bit. We know Joey's one of the keynote speakers. Artie, there's 3 other keynotes on the docket. Do you want to share a little bit about those 3?
We are so pleased to have the ability to gather Chip Candy, National Middle School Physical Education Teacher of the Year, LaDonda Porter, and her Kentucky homies. It's not just LaDonda, but there's 5 other folks that are just phenomenal. And Kim Morton Cook, she's the health ed guru. Each of them will be on stage sharing the platform, sharing from their heart. And we've also been able to gather 16 wonderful vendor exhibitor presenters. So we're excited. I'm excited. It's going to be phenomenal.
Outstanding. Now, you know, everyone has raved so far about the location in Asheville, North Carolina. Artie, as far as travel in and out of Asheville, there is an airport in Asheville for those who are coming from across the country. Do we have any hotel accommodations that are available for folks with a discounted rate still, or have those all been
Yes,
snatched up?
we still have some space, Brian.
Okay.
Fortunately, we're booked out of the Embassy Suites. We have a few rooms at the DoubleTree, but there's plenty of space at the Crown Plaza, Asheville
Okay.
Crown Plaza. It's all on our website. If you would Google NC Shape, ncshape.org, at the very top, you'll see links for the National Physical Education Institute. And if you haven't registered yet, I would strongly encourage you to do so either today or tomorrow. These are the last 2 days for our discounted regular member, well, our regular price. On the 16th, it goes up a little bit. And we always take last minute and walk-ons. We've never turned anyone away.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know too, Artie, a lot of people, you know, if they have families, they turn it into a family vacation. If they have friends who are physical educators, sometimes they make a drive from somewhere and, you know, turn it into a road trip across America, attend PE Institute and take a road trip back. So you can actually turn it into a nice vacation there going through the mountains of North Carolina, correct?
Yeah, it's beautiful. If you haven't been before, put it on your list.
All right, good deal. Well, I don't see a whole lot of questions from anyone in the chat, just a lot of excitement as far as people being able to reunite with Artie and Joey and Elise and being able to see other friends who are on this webinar today. So, you know, I know it's going to be a great time. And I think Artie and Joey already planned their long hug. And I think there's going to be a lot of long hugs that happen in Asheville the last week in July, just because a lot of these people have not seen each other in a very long time. So I do want to thank our guests, as well as thank all of you who took time out of your day to attend. Those of you watching the recording, thank you for taking your time to watch the recording. As Artie mentioned, 2 days left until the rates go up, correct, Artie?
Correct, correct.
All right, so 2 days left. Visit the NC Shape website, and there's a tab at the top for PE Institute. You can click on that and get your registration all done, and find out information for travel. So thanks everyone for attending today. Y'all have a great time. Looking forward to seeing everyone in Asheville. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.